Imagine for a moment that every word you speak to yourself is not just a passing thought, but a seed planted in the fertile soil of your mind. Each thought, each statement, each quiet conversation you have with yourself shapes your perception, molds your reality, and ultimately determines the life you live. You may not always be aware of it, but the stories you repeat to yourself about who you are, what you deserve, what is possible, these stories are the architects of your future. If your self-talk is filled with doubt, fear, or limitation, you are building a world that mirrors those very restrictions. But if you speak to yourself with clarity, with faith, and with certainty, you are inviting possibilities that were once invisible into your life. Consider how often you unconsciously talk to yourself. Perhaps you remind yourself of mistakes you made, tell yourself you are not enough, or worry that things will never change. This internal chatter may feel harmless, even natural, but it quietly shapes your experience. The mind does not question the reality of your words. It takes them as truth, and what you hold as truth within, you will inevitably see reflected without. It is not magic, nor wishful thinking. It is a law as certain as the rising of the sun. What you impress upon your imagination with feeling and conviction becomes your outer reality. Now imagine changing that dialogue. Imagine turning those whispers of doubt into affirmations of possibility. This is not about forcing yourself to feel happy when you do not, or pretending to be someone you are not. It is about consciously choosing the narrative that will guide your life forward. It is about observing the way you speak to yourself and gently, persistently rewriting it. Every sentence you whisper, every thought you entertain carries power, and when harnessed deliberately, this power becomes the engine of transformation. The process begins with awareness. Before you can change your self-talk, you must first notice it. Begin to listen, not as a critic, but as a witness. Pay attention to the recurring phrases, the habitual judgments, the self-imposed limitations. Do you say, "I can't, I'm not enough, it's too late"? These are not mere words, they are the blueprints of your reality. Recognize them, acknowledge them, and understand that you hold the key to change. Nothing outside of you can dictate what your imagination accepts as truth. It is entirely within your control. Once you become aware, the next step is gentle redirection. You do not need to fight your thoughts with force or frustration. Simply begin to replace what no longer serves you with a new, purposeful narrative. Speak to yourself as if you already are the person you wish to become, as if the life you desire is already unfolding. Feel it as you speak it. Let your imagination breathe life into these words, letting them sink deeply into your consciousness. Each statement repeated with conviction strengthens your inner world, and with time your outer world begins to respond. Remember, the life you are living now is the result of the conversations you have been having with yourself, often unconsciously. And the life you desire is already possible the moment you begin to speak to yourself in a way that aligns with that vision. Every word you choose, every thought you nurture, is a brushstroke on the canvas of your reality. Speak with intention. Speak with faith. Speak as if your future is already here. Change your self-talk, and you change your life. Now that you understand the power of the words you speak to yourself, it is time to turn your attention to a method, a simple, 5-day journey that allows you to deliberately shape your inner conversation. This is not a technique of struggle or forced effort. It is a gentle, disciplined approach to guiding your imagination so that it begins to work for you rather than against you. Each day of this journey builds upon the last, creating a rhythm that rewires your thinking and reshapes your life. The mind, once accustomed to the old patterns of limitation, learns a new language, the language of possibility, faith, and confidence. The first day is about awareness, but the second day brings the promise of intention. Here you begin to see that self-talk is not merely an echo of the past. It is a tool that can be shaped to create the future. You are not a passive observer of your thoughts. You are the conscious director of them. This is where the process becomes active. You will take the negative, habitual statements that have unconsciously guided your life and consciously revise them. The words you once accepted as truth will now be rewritten in a way that reflects your highest vision of yourself. This is not about pretending or lying to yourself. It is about seeing what is possible and allowing your imagination to become the blueprint of your reality. By the second day, you begin to notice the subtlety of language and feeling. You do not merely replace words, you replace the emotion behind them. Each phrase you speak inwardly carries a vibration. Words spoken with doubt or fear will draw experiences that mirror them. Words spoken with certainty, feeling, and clarity will attract circumstances that reflect those truths. It is the feeling behind the word that gives it power, the inner conviction that makes it real. You will begin to feel your statements as though they are already accomplished, living, and tangible. This is how the mind accepts them, and eventually how life manifests them. As you practice this, you will also notice resistance, not in the world around you, but within yourself. Old habits cling because they are familiar, and familiarity feels safe even if it has held you back. This is natural. Do not fight it with frustration or impatience. Simply observe it, acknowledge it, and continue speaking your new story with calm, unwavering faith. The more you persist, the more your imagination will accept the new narrative as true, and the more your inner dialogue will begin to mirror the reality you desire. What makes this method extraordinary is its structure. By giving yourself 5 days, you create a manageable window for focused change. Each day has its purpose, and each day's practice reinforces the last. It is a gradual unfolding, a step-by-step awakening to the reality you are capable of creating. By the time the 5th day arrives, your mind will have been gently but powerfully retrained. You will find that the words you once spoke unconsciously are replaced with statements of faith, power, and possibility. The internal conversation has shifted, and with it the world around you begins to shift as well. Remember, there is no need to force results. The mind does not respond to coercion, but it responds beautifully to consistent, deliberate attention. Speak to yourself in a way that reflects the life you desire. Feel it as though it is already present. Let the imagination be your faithful servant. As each day passes, you will feel the shift, not just in thought, but in perception, in confidence, and in the very energy that you carry into your world. What you are learning is simple in concept, but profound in effect. By consciously directing your self-talk for just 5 days, you plant the seeds of a new reality. These seeds, watered with feeling and attention, will grow, unfold, and manifest in ways both subtle and magnificent. This 5-day journey is the bridge between who you are now and who you are meant to become. Now that you have learned the power of your self-talk and embraced a method to consciously shape it, it is time to take the next step, putting it into practice, day by day. The journey is simple yet profound. Each day is an opportunity to transform not only your words, but the very way you perceive yourself and your world. It begins with awareness, continues with intention, and reaches its fullest expression when you actively engage your imagination, feeling each statement as if it were already real. This is where transformation truly takes root. On the first day, you do not rush. You observe. You listen carefully to the conversation that occurs within you every moment of the day. What are the words you repeat automatically? What judgments do you make about yourself, your circumstances, and the people around you? These observations are not meant to shame you, but to illuminate patterns that have unconsciously guided your life. By seeing them clearly, you gain the power to change them. You are no longer at the mercy of old habits. You are the conscious architect of your own mind. Awareness is the foundation upon which all change is built. The second day moves from observation to revision. Now you gently begin to replace the limiting statements you discovered on the first day. Every "I can't" becomes "I can." Every "it's too late" becomes "it is possible now." But more than changing words, you change the feeling behind them. Speak your new narrative with conviction. Feel the possibility as though it were already present. The mind does not distinguish between what is imagined with feeling and what is physically real. It accepts that which is impressed upon it with clarity, emotion, and faith. This is the secret power of your imagination. It does not wait for external proof. It responds to the reality you create within. On the third day, affirmation becomes central. Now you are actively speaking the language of your new reality. Not quietly, not half-heartedly, but with full attention and belief. Repeat the statements that reflect your desired life. Speak as if you are already living them. Do not focus on the absence of what you wish for, but on the presence of it. Feel it, live it internally, and let that feeling guide every thought. These affirmations, spoken and felt consistently, begin to rewrite the story of who you are. They form the bridge between imagination and experience, turning mere words into living energy. The fourth day is devoted to visualization. You go beyond words and engage all of your senses. Imagine your desired outcomes vividly. See them, hear them, feel them, even taste and touch them in your mind's eye. Allow yourself to live in the reality of your desire for just a few moments each day. This is not daydreaming, this is deliberate creation. Your mind cannot distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is physically experienced. The emotions you generate in these moments impress your inner world, preparing it to manifest in your outer world. By the fifth day, integration occurs. The new self-talk, the affirmations, and the vivid imaginations have taken root. They no longer feel like separate exercises. They are now part of your internal rhythm. Your thoughts, feelings, and words naturally align with the life you desire. You begin to move through the world differently, confidently, creatively, and with an inner certainty that your reality is unfolding according to your vision. The transformation is subtle yet undeniable. Understand that each day is a step, and the power lies in consistency. These 5 days are not a test, but an invitation to awaken to the life you are capable of creating. With each repetition, each affirmation, and each vivid imagination, you are training your mind to accept a new story, a story that reflects your highest possibilities and deepest desires. By consciously guiding your self-talk every day, you do more than change words, you change the very foundation of your life. Now that you have learned to observe, revise, affirm, and vividly imagine your desired reality, it is time to focus on the techniques that make this process truly effective. The method itself is simple, but the way you engage with it can amplify your results beyond what you might expect. It is not enough to merely repeat words or picture a scene in your mind. The key lies in how deeply you feel, how consistently you practice, and how fully you allow your imagination to become real to you. Every detail matters, and every subtle shift in your inner experience has the power to transform your outer life. Begin with the awareness of the present moment. The mind is often scattered, flitting from past regrets to future worries. But when you deliberately pause and focus your attention, you create space for conscious creation. Speak to yourself as if your desires are already true. Let the words be precise, in the present tense, and free from doubt. Notice the difference between saying, "I want to be confident," and saying, "I am confident." The first implies lack. The second affirms reality. Your imagination does not debate possibilities. It accepts what you impress upon it as fact. By speaking and thinking in this way, you align your inner world with the outcome you seek. Consistency is equally essential. A single moment of inspired self-talk can spark change, but sustained practice builds the foundation for lasting transformation. Make it a daily ritual. Speak your affirmations with conviction each morning, each evening, and whenever your mind drifts toward doubt. Repetition is not a mechanical exercise, it is a way of impressing your subconscious mind with certainty. Over time, these repeated statements cease to be conscious effort and become a natural reflection of your inner reality. Your self-talk begins to flow automatically in alignment with your desires, and you find that the world around you begins to reflect this new rhythm. Feeling is the secret that breathes life into your words. Do not merely recite affirmations or picture scenes, immerse yourself in them emotionally. Sense the joy, the relief, the satisfaction, or the excitement as though your desire is already fulfilled. The mind responds not to abstract ideas but to lived experience in the imagination. The stronger the feeling, the more compelling the impression, and the more quickly it manifests. Think of your imagination as the workshop where your reality is built. The tools you use are your words, your images, and above all, your feelings. Each session, each moment of deliberate imagination strengthens the structures you are creating within. There are also practical ways to enhance this process. Journaling can help you notice patterns, clarify intentions, and reinforce new thoughts. Speaking to yourself in front of a mirror allows you to feel the words more deeply, as if addressing the person you are becoming. Recording your affirmations and listening to them can immerse you in the vibration of your desire. These are not required steps, but they are accelerators, helping you impress the mind more powerfully and consistently. Remember, there is no rush. The mind does not respond to pressure, it responds to belief. Approach each technique with patience, persistence, and a sense of curiosity. Experiment with what resonates most deeply with you. Perhaps a certain phrase, a particular visualization, or a specific time of day unlocks a stronger response. The method is flexible, but the principle remains unwavering. The words you speak, the images you imagine, and the feelings you cultivate are the instruments of creation. As you integrate these techniques, you will notice a quiet yet profound shift. Your thoughts will begin to naturally align with your desires, Your feelings will support your intentions, and your actions will flow from a place of certainty rather than doubt. You are training your mind to operate as a faithful ally, responding to the reality you choose to hold within. When you speak, imagine, and feel with clarity and consistency, you do not simply wish for change, you embody it. As you begin to practice these methods, as you speak deliberately, imagine vividly, and feel with conviction, you will start to notice the subtle ways in which your life responds. This is the natural outcome of aligning your inner world with the reality you desire. Change does not always arrive with fanfare. Often it begins quietly. A shift in mood, a new opportunity appearing, a sense of confidence that was absent before. These small signs are proof that your inner work is already manifesting outwardly. The life you once thought separate from you is drawing near because you have impressed it upon your mind with clarity and feeling. The benefits of this practice are not limited to achieving specific goals, they extend to every corner of your life. Confidence grows because you are no longer at the mercy of doubt. You feel a steady certainty about who you are and what is possible for you. Emotional freedom emerges as old fears and limiting beliefs lose their grip. You begin to experience a sense of peace, knowing that your imagination is the true creative force and that nothing external can dictate your worth or your potential. The mind that was once reactive now becomes proactive, guiding you instead of restraining you. You will also notice clarity emerging. Decisions become easier because you are no longer operating from confusion or hesitation. Your inner dialogue supports your intentions rather than contradicting them. You find yourself naturally taking actions that align with your goals, and doors begin to open that once seemed closed. Circumstances, people, and opportunities begin to align with the life you have been imagining. This is not coincidence, it is the direct result of consistently impressing your desires upon your mind. What was once a dream becomes a living, breathing reality, first in your consciousness and then in your world. Sometimes the manifestation may not appear exactly as you envisioned. This is a part of the process. Your imagination is not bound by external limitations, and often it delivers your desire in a way that exceeds your expectations. The key is to remain faithful to the feeling, to trust that what you have impressed upon your mind is already unfolding, even if the timing or the form seems different. Do not be discouraged by appearances. Reality is pliable to the mind that holds it firmly in imagination with faith. The moment you let go of doubt, the mind arranges circumstances in alignment with your inner certainty. As you continue to practice, you may begin to witness transformations in relationships, career, health, and personal growth. People may respond to you differently, drawn to the energy of confidence and alignment. Opportunities that once seemed impossible may present themselves effortlessly. Your health and vitality may improve as you replace negative self-talk with affirmations of well-being and strength. Every aspect of your life begins to echo the reality you are holding within, because what you consistently imagine and feel becomes the blueprint for experience. Perhaps most importantly, you come to realize that your power has never been outside of you. All the circumstances, events, and people that appear in your life are mirrors reflecting the state of your inner world. By transforming the conversation you have with yourself, you transform the very fabric of your life. The world does not change because it must, but because your consciousness has changed. This is the ultimate freedom, the deepest empowerment, knowing that your life is not a series of random events, but a reflection of the thoughts, words, and feelings you choose to cultivate within. When you faithfully engage in this process, you do not merely hope for better circumstances, you become the living proof that the reality you desire is possible. Now that you have learned the power of your self-talk, the method to consciously shape it, the step-by-step practice, and the techniques to make it effective, it is time to bring it all together and take action. Knowledge alone is not enough. Ideas remain dormant until they are expressed through practice. It is in your daily, deliberate engagement with your imagination and your words that transformation truly occurs. You have been given the tools, now you must use them. Do not wait for permission, do not wait for the perfect moment. That moment is now. The life you imagine is waiting for you to speak it into being. Begin by committing to consistency. A single day of inspired self-talk can spark change, but sustained practice is what brings lasting results. Make it a sacred ritual, a part of your morning, your evening, and whenever you notice doubt creeping in. Speak with conviction. Imagine with feeling. Live internally as if your desire has already been realized. Let this inner reality guide your thoughts, your emotions, and ultimately your actions. Do not underestimate the subtle yet powerful effect of daily repetition. Each day you dedicate to this practice strengthens the foundation upon which your new life is built. Next, embrace patience. Transformation does not happen instantaneously, but every moment you remain faithful to the practice, the seeds you have planted grow quietly beneath the surface. You may notice small signs at first, a shift in mood, a new idea, a coincidence that feels meaningful, but these are merely the beginning. Trust the process and resist the temptation to measure results too soon. The mind operates according to its own divine timing. What you impress upon it with faith will manifest, often in ways that surpass even your expectations. The unseen work of your imagination is more powerful than any immediate external confirmation. You must also cultivate faith in your own power. Do not look outside yourself for validation. The circumstances around you are mirrors of your inner state, not judges of your worth. When doubt arises, return to your imagination. Speak to yourself with the authority and certainty of someone who knows the end result is already accomplished. Let your feelings lead the way. When your inner world is aligned with your desire, the outer world cannot help but respond. The life you seek is not somewhere out there. It begins here, within you, in the words you speak, the images you hold, and the emotions you cultivate. Do not hesitate to experiment. Some days a particular phrase may resonate more deeply. Other days a certain visualization may evoke stronger feeling. Pay attention to what moves you, what brings your imagination to life, and use it. This is your personal creation, your unique expression of the practice. Trust your intuition and let it guide your words and your feelings. Over time, you will discover the rhythm and methods that speak most powerfully to your mind, and these will become your most effective tools in shaping your reality. Finally, remember that the greatest transformation comes not from forcing circumstances to change, but from changing yourself. As you speak, imagine and feel your desired reality with unwavering faith. You become the living embodiment of that reality. The world around you adjusts to reflect your inner state. Relationships shift, opportunities appear, confidence grows, and your very presence resonates with the energy of fulfillment. This is not a distant dream, it is your natural inheritance. You are learning to claim it, to live it consciously, and to express it effortlessly. Take this practice seriously, but approach it with joy. Creation is not a burden, it is your privilege. Speak to yourself with authority, imagine with delight, and feel with certainty. Let your words, thoughts, and emotions become the instruments through which your life unfolds exactly as you envision it. Begin now, and let nothing sway your faith.